You were born authentic. Growing up, you realize that being your true self doesn't save yourself from being hurt or attacked by other people. You learn to develop a mask to protect your true self. And by that, you hide your true self away from other people, from the world, and from yourself. And this works for a while, but eventually you realize that you're not satisfied with your life. You feel disconnected, you feel unfulfilled. And you're unfulfilled because you're living someone else's life. And you know that you need to become authentic once again. Because a fulfilled life is a life that's lived by you and for you. But the question is, how does one become authentic? If being authentic is the game, there's a lot of strategy to play this game. Everybody has their own definition of authenticity. So today, I want to suggest 3 strategies to become authentic, and I hope that will be a good starting place for you to gather new ideas and come up with your own strategy. So what is authenticity? Being authentic means the way you act on the outside is who you are on the inside, meaning the inner experience of self equals to the outer expression. The inner experience is made up of the awareness of it, an accurate perception, and also reflection. To me, being authentic means I feel true to myself. I'm living my own life. I feel satisfied and at peace, and at the end of the day, there's no regret, so I can sleep really well at night. There are a lot of strategies to become authentic. I picked these 3 strategies because I think they represent different schools of thoughts that are interesting for anyone to consider. The first strategy is to be real. After a long period of conforming, you naturally break loose and do whatever you want. Realness is defined as behaving on the outside the way you feel on the inside without caring about the consequences. In this case, the inner experience is exactly the same to the outer expression. If you're happy, you act like a happy person. If you're mad, you act like a mad person. It sounds pretty close to being authentic. And in reality, being real could mean something like you're hanging out with your friends, and a friend told a joke that you think has a sexist undertone. You yourself believe in women's rights and often fight for them, so you feel the urge to snap back, to attack the other person. You might lash out, you might try to educate the other person. You can remove yourself from the situation or even cut ties with this person. It's a good strategy for starter. It's relatively easy, especially after you can gather the courage to do what you want. And it's absolutely freeing to be yourself unapologetically. So this is what a lot of people adopt as their own strategy, and they can sleep really well at night, but not for me. Whenever I base my action on this strategy, I find myself feeling still dissatisfied. If you also value compassion, being kind, and social harmony, then you'd be dissatisfied with lashing out and being angry. When we rank realness as number 1, we often forget to look at our inner experience, to study it and reflect on it, and that's what being real is missing. How accurate is the way I see myself? Have I reflected on myself enough? So while this is a good strategy for a lot of people, especially when you're starting out, if you're someone who desires more inner harmony, then I think strategy 2 would be for you. Find the seat of consciousness. If strategy number 1 forgets to define what the inner experience of self is, let's try to do that with strategy number 2. So what is the self? Who are you? Are you your name? Are you your look? How tall you are? How heavy you are? Are you the space that you occupy physically? Are you your thoughts? Can you be your beliefs? If you change your name or the way you look throughout your life, you're still you. And your thoughts, your beliefs are different in different stages of your life. And throughout all of those changes, you're still you. You are still you without any of them. So what is you? This is the exercise that Michael Singer used for his book, The Untethered Soul. The exercise is to ask who I am until you get to the end and strip up all the conceptions of the self. Maybe I can help you with another example. Imagine standing in an empty room. In front of you, there's a huge apple. Now make the apple go away. So now, what do you think is left in that room? The room is not empty. What is left is the you who see the apple. You are the observer who see your thoughts, your emotions, your beliefs, who see the world around you, the one who is aware of everything, and the one that sits in the center seat of consciousness. So by applying the second strategy, your inner experience is exactly the same with your outer expression, which is calm, relaxed, and at peace. But what does it look like in action? What does the observer do beside observing? It relaxes and releases. So now we go back to the example of the friend telling the sexist joke. The part of you that says, oh my God, he said unacceptable things. I have to educate him, or I have to stop being friends with him. It might be aggressive because maybe in the past you have experienced something similar and you've learned to fight back in order to defend yourself. So when you apply strategy 1 to be real, you see the emotion and you hold on to it. You go through the motion of fighting, of defending. But when you apply strategy 2 to remain at your seat of consciousness, you would observe the emotion pass by. You wouldn't follow it and you let it go. Instead of perceiving the comment as a personal attack and hardening yourself preparing to fight, you relax, release, and stay open. People who adopt this strategy can have different behaviors, but one thing in common is they're at peace with whatever they do. And the action's usually very fitting because they're in tune with the present moment. Whatever they do next fits into the picture and there's no resistance. This is the best strategy to get your peace of mind back and to learn how to deal with the incessant noise in your head. And it is quite easy once you learn how to stay relaxed and open. Although this strategy is quite easy and useful, there is a reason why I include the third strategy. I think every moment of triggers or hurt is a great opportunity for us to get to know ourselves better. I'm a bothered girly. I want to know why I'm feeling this way. So if you're also curious, strategy number 3 might be for you. So number 3, to integrate the inner system. We have established that to be authentic, we need to know the inner experience of the self. In the second strategy, we have identified consciousness to be the true inner experience. But it would be more simple if we have one self and we do whatever we think we want to do. In reality, we are influenced by the little parts within ourselves. We know we want to be healthy, so we would like to work out, but we don't. Division within the self can lead to different types of self-sabotage. This third and last strategy is supported by the book No Bad Parts by Dr. Richard Schwartz. In his work, he has heard a lot of clients mention their inner parts when they're talking about their struggles. There are the vulnerable part that are shamed and hurt in the past when they're young. And there are also other parts that act as protectors. They're more aggressive, they keep us safe, and keep the vulnerable part away from us. He also sees these inner parts within himself. And to him, these are distinct beings with preferences, personalities of their own, and their own roles. These are the parts that stuck in their past patterns and beliefs, and they take destructive roles within your internal system. And if they're aggressive enough, they may take over us, and that's why we might act aggressive towards the friend that said the joke. Dr. Swat also saw a part that is compassionate, confident, calm, mindfully curious, and he saw this within everyone. This part can relate to other parts and become a mediator between different parts that are in conflict. And he called this the self. The self is the leader of the internal system. The self's goal is to get to know all the parts, gain trust as a leader, and create a harmonious system that works for you. By acknowledging all the parts that has been abandoned within, you become a whole, undivided person whose actions are aligned with their beliefs and values. And to me, that is authenticity. That is the integration and alignment of the mind, body, heart, and soul. And this method is better known as the internal family system. Dr. Swat recommends to have a professional who can guide you throughout the process if you want to work with this. I think the book is still a great read if you want to get started into this journey of understanding yourself. So I cannot and will not go into details of a session, but I can paint you a general picture of what a conversation with your parts might look like. After your friend telling you the joke, you realize that there's a part of you that wants to get out. Obviously, you won't be able to do it on the spot, or maybe you will have this conversation after you get home. You call that part that felt defensive about the joke. You ask it to have a conversation with you. You can become curious and ask, what do you want me to know about your role? Why do you take a strong position? What are you afraid would happen if you fail your role? What's also important is to show that part how much you appreciate it for having defended you in the past, and also to let them know your age, because apparently a lot of your parts don't realize that you've grown into an adult who can handle yourself. That's why they still overprotect you. So obviously this is not to be done in one session. It might take you a few conversations to get to that part and understand it, and the chances you might have to repeat the process with all of your other parts. So if you were to adopt strategy number 3, you might not have an immediate reaction to the friend who said the joke. It will be a long journey of getting to know your different parts and to reconcile the conflicts within you. But once it happens, I believe that the action will ultimately feel the truest to you, and there would be no regrets because you have become an integrated version of yourself. It's been only about 2 weeks since I've started talking to myself using this method. The conversations are hard and can be very sad, but I can totally see the change in the way I present myself in the world. I can see a lot more compassion and kindness, and I definitely have a better sense of self after talking to different parts that I have ignored for so long. None of the strategy is better than the others. Whatever works for you is the best for you. So that's it. Let me know what you think about these strategies. What ideas has piqued your interest? And what is your experience so far with becoming your most authentic self? Wherever you are in your journey, I'm really happy that we get a chance to meet here. I hope to see you again.